Are you ready to code faster, smarter, and honestly way more efficiently? GitHub Copilot, the AI coding assistant, is now free for everyone. No more excuses, everyone can now experience the power of AI assistant coding, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how exactly to get started with GitHub Copilot and unlock its essential features to help you coding and learning even 10 times faster. If you're excited to boost your coding skills, smash that like button and let's dive in. In today's tech world, artificial intelligence is no longer a futuristic concept, it's an essential tool for boosting productivity and is becoming more and more necessary for developers and job positions. Whether you are an experienced developer or just starting your coding journey, AI can seriously enhance your skills. GitHub Copilot is at the forefront of this AI revolution in development. Think of it as your AI pair programmer right inside your code editor, ready to assist you in real time. It can help you write code faster, suggest solutions, understand complex code snippets, and even generate documentation. And now that it's free for everybody, it's the perfect time to jump in and experience the benefits firsthand. So let's do it. Great. So let's get you set up with GitHub Copilot. It's a very easy process and you'll be coding with AI in minutes. The first thing we need is to download Visual Studio Code. So you can just come to this link. I will leave the link in the description, the official website of Visual Studio Code. You click in download for Windows and you can start using that. Just something very important here that we have to pay attention is the free version is not unlimited. Be aware of that. It includes up to 2,000 completions and 50 chat requests per month. You can use this to study purpose, to create projects, but just be aware that it's not unlimited like the other plans. After you have downloaded Visual Studio Code, just open it and you have this page here. Go to the extensions menu and now we have to install GitHub Copilot. So you can just type GitHub Copilot and you will have this GitHub Copilot extension. Click install. Also, you should install GitHub Copilot Chat. These two extensions will give you the power to use AI in your editor within your code. So you need to install them. After you have done this, this screen will pop up to you. If it doesn't, you will have this icon here about Copilot, some options. You have to sign in. Okay, so you need a GitHub account and you need to sign in to Copilot to use it for free. So you can just click here, sign in to use GitHub Copilot. It will open the GitHub screen with your account. Make sure you have a personal account for you to use Copilot for free. You need a personal account, not an enterprise account. And you just click in continue. After that, it will just prompt for you to open Visual Studio Code again, and you just do it. Now you're already set up to GitHub Copilot. If you haven't set up yet, you probably have a button to start using for free or something like that. It's very simple. Just follow the instructions and you can start using it. Alright, you are all set up. So let's explore some functionalities of Copilot that will make you fall in love with this feature. Let's start with the Inline Chat. Let's create a new file. Text file, it can be a text file. The Inline Chat is like having a conversation with Copilot right within your code. Let's say we want to create a fancy login form. After opening the file, I'm going to open an extension called Live Preview that helps us understand and see what's happening in the file, especially if it's an HTML file. So let's do this. Show preview here. Now we have a browser inside our code. We can say that. And let's do this. We just hit Ctrl I to open the inline chat and we can just say create a fancy login form with HTML and CSS, and then let's just watch the magic happen. So it's just creating a form for us. It's a very basic thing to do in all systems and we're already doing this with Copilot. It just finished. We can accept here. We can also select again and select all the code and say make it even fancier, and let's see what it does. So it just make it more beautiful. It added some colors, some different things, some different styling. You can see if it's better or not, so it's up to you to judge, but you already have a login form that you can use. Also, you can come here and you type. You can see that it has some effects. Daniel, we hit login. It's just submitting the form, so we have a login form to use. Let's make it a little better, so I'm gonna select everything again, Ctrl I, and I'm gonna say add some animation to the form, and let's see what happens here. So Copilot is just rewriting everything and probably adding some animation. I expect. Okay, it did. So we can see here, it added a fading animation on the form. I can click on accept, let me reload. This is the animation that it just created. So can you see how easy that is? You can refine your code simply by chatting with Copilot inline directly in your editor. Just make sure you review this code to assure it's what you want and expect. If you're just learning, that's a very good way to get started and start studying this code. If you already know this stuff, then you are simply saving time and not having to write everything by your own again. Just something that it's very important for us to understand here. Every time that we are using the inline chat, we should select the code that we want Copilot to work in, okay? Because that's why Copilot knows where in the code you want it to act. So if I want it to review all the code and add some animation, I select everything. If I wanted to review just this part, I select just this part and then I open the chat. Okay, so just keep that in mind, because if you don't select anything and just ask, maybe Copilot can give you wrong answers. So pay attention to that. That's a very important tip. Let's continue. Now let's explore another feature called the chat view. For that we can hit Ctrl Alt I, and I'm just using hotkeys here because I think it's easier, but if you want, you can just click on this icon up here and then you have open chat, chat edit, editor inline, and quick chat. Okay, so this is something that you can also use. The chat view gives you a dedicated panel to interact with Copilot. This is great for more complex requests and exploring different options. So let's say you want to understand and document this project. You can come here and just type workspace, create a readme file in raw markdown. I put raw markdown in capital letters because Copilot is an AI and sometimes it makes mistakes. Sometimes it's, for example, it will give you the readme file but not in raw markdown. So you can use capital letters to emphasize something, also put readme file. Let's see if it works right now. It didn't. Let's do something like this. Now it worked. So you can see here that sometimes we need to make some changes to our prompt in order to get what we want. You start getting to know Copilot and to see what's the best way to do these things. But we have our file here, what we want. Now what we can just do is just, for example, come here and say insert and say insert into new file here. And now we already have a file that we can use as our document. I can hit Ctrl S. I'm gonna save this. I have a folder here where we'll save these files, readme.md, and now we have our file here. I can also save our HTML file at the same index.html. It's okay. I'm gonna lose this because file wasn't found, of course, because I just changed it. We can just close here and open it again. It's gonna work. This extension is pretty good, so if you don't have it, you should download it. Let's move on. So as you can see, we already have a document that is explaining to us what is our project about. We didn't waste time on doing that. Copilot did it for us. But just remember to review that, see if it's everything the way you want, and make some changes if it's needed. The next thing we can talk about is the chat is not only to generate code, it can help you on other tasks. For example, understand existing code. So imagine that you want to understand the code you are learning, or you are an experienced developer with a new code base and you need to understand. You can do this. Workspace dash explain. It is prompting us to select a closing range, but we don't need it. You can just press ask, escape, and now it's explaining the whole code for us. So it's saying about the HTML, the head, the title, the style. So if you're learning, you need to understand new code. That's a good way for you to have it in an easy way for you just to read and understand better and save time. Let's try another very powerful feature. Let's imagine we want to refactor this code. So for example, we have here our HTML file with our style inside the code. We don't want that. We want, for example, have another file for the style. We can ask Copilot to do this. So let's do this. We can say workspace, move the style off. And now we can say hash file, and we can choose index.html. So I'm specifying that I want Copilot to work on this specific file. This is very important to give it more context and get better results. To another CSS file and import it on index.html. Let's see what it does. It explains to us on how to do it, this, and say here are the updated files. So we already have the index.html and the styles.css. That's great. Let's open live preview and see how it goes. Here, what you can do, you can use this option here, apply in editor, and it will automatically substitute the code with this one. Let's do active editor. Nice, it has just substituted. Here we can see the changes that had made. If we agree with that, we click accept. Now I have my HTML form without any style, but we have the code here. So let's just come to the option that we learned, insert into new file. We have our file here. Let's save this file. It will be our styles.css, and it's already imported because Copilot had done that, and it's working again the same way as it was working before. That's pretty cool, right? So you can even refactor a code, creating new files. Imagine that you have big functions that you want to make smaller or things like that. You can do it just by chatting with Copilot, and you have great results, and it actually works. So if you are starting to see the power of Copilot's chat view, leave a comment below and tell me what feature you are most excited about. And if you have learned anything new by now, just hit the like button because it helps us a lot bringing new content here for you. Let me close this chat here. Let's talk about code line completion. Probably the most frequently used and time-saving feature at Copilot. As you are typing something, Copilot can predict and suggest the next lines for you. So for example, here is just suggesting a login button. If you hit tab, you accept, or you hit ask, you don't. This is also very time saving for you when you are coding and doing new stuff. Copilot can help you creating more things. For example, now it just suggested another link with forgot password. I just hit enter and it's there. And every time that you hit enter on a new line, it will suggest new things. So you can just start adding up things that it makes sense for you. This feature is great because it speeds up your coding, reduces typos, helps you write code more fluently. Okay, and you don't even need to leave your editor, it just gives you ideas. It's good. Let's continue. GitHub Copilot also offers smart actions directly on your code editor's context menu. So let's come here and you can right click Copilot, editor, inline chat, explain, fix, reviewing comment, generate docs, generate tests. It's also a very powerful tool. But let's talk about review and comment. So if I come here, I can select a piece of code, right click, and I say review and comment. Copilot will analyze the code and generate helpful comments explaining what the code does. This is fantastic for code understanding and also improving the code. So it is suggesting some changes based on the code and best practice. You can either accept or not. Let's accept. It keeps the same way, but it was a best way of writing that code. And now it's suggesting another thing. Let's apply. It changed my code. This is not exactly what I wanted, so I can just hit Ctrl+Z and come back. So you should of course evaluate, but most of the time if you have, for example, functions that you need to review or complex logic things, it will help you a lot understand if it's better use this way or giving you suggestions on code review. For developers, this is great because it can just show you another way of thinking or showing you some mistakes that you might have made or not. So it's very good also. Also, another very good smart action that we have is generating docs. It's a form for you to learn and understand code that you have never seen, or just putting some comments. Even though this is not the best practice to have a lot of comments in your code, but if you're learning, this helps a lot. So what you can do is you select all the code that you have or the code that you want to comment, click Copilot, generate docs. It will actually generate docs for you on the code. Let's see what it did here. It talks about what it has on this CSS file, explaining everything that it's doing, including variables, body styles, the containers. So this helps you a lot when you want to understand new code or even document some code. Let's do the same in the HTML. Imagine that if you have a function with logic, not just in HTML and CSS, this also help you a lot with JavaScript or anything else. And there you have it. In just a few minutes, we could create a beautiful login form that we can use, or we can also study about that. It even includes animations. You could create documentation. Copilot just helped us on creating a form in an easy and faster way, documenting it, explaining what it does, reviewing the code, and suggesting improvements. Imagine this in large scale. It can boost your productivity so much in your daily basis, and it's actually becoming essential. A lot of companies is now asking for this skill of knowing how to use AI in your development, so pay attention to that. Yeah, and there you have it. If you found this tutorial helpful, please subscribe to this channel for more coding tips and tutorials. And to keep learning about AI, check out this video here where I implement a free AI bot with WhatsApp, or this one here where I give you more tips to understand code that you have never seen before with GitHub Copilot. Thanks for watching and happy coding!